Let me give you another example on why it's not the DNA. These are the breast cancer rates in Shanghai. Not in China, but just in Shanghai. Because breast cancer rates in China vary depending upon whether you're rich or poor, urban or rural. If you're poor, living in rural China, you probably eat a pretty healthy or maybe even poverty-like diet, and you don't get nearly as much breast cancer. But if you live in Shanghai in 1986 and you're over the age of 50, they had 55 cases per 100,000 in 1986. 15 years later, they had 162 cases per 100,000. They tripled the breast cancer rate. That's not from the DNA, okay? That's the same Chinese genes on Chinese genes. It's not mammograms. That's from something happening in their environment. Eating more protein, eating more bad food, sitting in front of computers, not having babies early in life, not breastfeeding. All of these are known risk factors for breast cancer. It's a shame you can't see this very well. It's a beautiful garden. And I view this beautiful garden as the equivalent of your body. All right? You need to take care of the garden. If a weed shows up in the garden of your body, and that weed is cancer, I'm going to come in and rip out that weed and make a hole 10 feet wide around it. And I'm going to say I got it all. But to be safe, I'm going to ask another doctor to come in and light a fire in a 20-foot circle around the hole. And that would be the radiation doctor. And then I'm going to come back with chemotherapy, poisons, and pour the pesticides all around in a 30-foot perimeter. So that at the end, it's all gone up in flames. And you have to start over. Okay? You don't want the weed to show up in the first place. So we're going to talk about what is the plan. And this is not magic. This is not original thinking on my part. This is common sense pulled from a lot of smart people and a lot of people who just look at the world in a simple way. Number one, eat smart. Okay? Number two, don't smoke. Okay, that's pretty good advice right there. We can help about 50% of the cases with that alone. Moderate exercise. But you want to know a secret? Sure, say yes, I want to know a secret. You don't have to exercise. It kills me. I get up every morning at like 4:30 or 5 and I go out and exercise. But I've recently discovered, and I will share with you, exercise is not the prescription for health. All right? So I've spent some time looking at groups of people who live to more than 100. Anyone know where you can find people who live to more than 100 on average? Anyone? Where? Okinawa, right. The women of Okinawa. It also turns out that the men of Sardinia tend to live to 100 and beyond. And members of a church in Los Angeles, the Seventh-day Adventist Church, they tend to live to more than 100. So what is it that's common amongst these ethnically, geographically, and gender different groups that lets them live to 100? Well, one thing I can tell you is none of them exercise. Have you ever seen a little Okinawan lady go to Fitness First? No. Okay? You think the Sardinian men are on a Stairmaster? No. But here's what ties them together. They have an active lifestyle. Stress management. We'll talk on that today. Social networks. Now, I'm not just trying to be trendy here, but there's something valuable in social networks. And there are some supplements. There are a few things, supplements and vitamins, that you could take in addition to a healthy diet, although I do think a healthy diet is the starting place. You can get a lot of good things in your diet, as you'll see. So number one, eat smart. What does that mean? Well, you want to eat food. Okay, that seems quite obvious. If you're going to eat smart, make sure that you eat food. Let me remind you, this is not food, okay? Gummy bears are not food. If the food is delivered to you through your car window, it's not food, okay? And you can see how choosing the right food becomes obvious. We all know in our hearts and in our minds what's good food and what food is not healthy. You don't want to eat too much. You don't have to get full. Don't fill yourself at every meal. Go to 80% and step away from the table. This is too much. This is a quadruple bypass burger. You don't want that. And you want to eat mostly plants. And when I say mostly plants, I really mean mostly vegetables. We say fruits and vegetables, but when I say fruits and vegetables, I mean have 3 vegetables for every fruit. Fruit used to be special. Now we have fruit every day, all day long. Wonderful fruit. But we didn't always have fresh fruit every day. But you could get fresh vegetables. Why? What's so good about the food? Well, the optimal diet is whole food based. It's a diet that's plant-based and low in fat. It's a diet that's low in simple carbohydrates, but rich in complex carbohydrates. Simple carbohydrates, here's the trick. Mostly, they're white. White rice, now everyone groans. Oh no, not white rice. White rice is not good for you. White bread is not good for you. White sugar is not good for you. Pasta is generally not good for you. And let me edit myself. In moderation. You don't want to be eating these sugars, these simple sugars, at every meal. All right? You're not busy enough to burn off all that sugar. You want omega-3 fatty acids. If there's one major take-home point you can learn today, it's that omega-3 fatty acids, the fatty acids your body doesn't make that are essential for hormones and other steroids in your body, you need to get 2 grams a day of omega-3 fatty acids. They've been shown to reduce the risk of certain kinds of heart disease, and they probably have a benefit in preventing cancer. All of these foods can also have additional properties that fight cancer. Let me explain. This is a picture of a tumor that's being fed by blood vessels. When cancer grows, it must be fed. Now the cancer can't just start out and say, hey, bring that fire hose over here, I'd like some blood from your body. The cancer cells have to trick the body into feeding it. So these cancer cells start out by themselves. They're growing and they can get enough nutrition by being near the blood. But at a certain point it gets to a size that it needs to have a direct path. It's almost like internet, wireless internet. A few people could work around one hub, but at a certain point a wire's got to come in to distribute the information or energy. Well, that happens here. And the tumor tricks the blood vessel into growing towards the cancer. And then later, as the cancer gets established, it's getting blood from your body, and it's using that same blood vessel to send more cancer cells out. That's called angiogenesis. Angio meaning blood, and genesis, like in the Bible, new blood vessels. When you have too much angiogenesis, then you tend to get cancer, obesity, certain kinds of blindness and arthritis, things like Alzheimer's. Our body has a very delicate balance of angiogenesis and anti-angiogenesis. We want to block the angiogenesis in our body to help prevent microscopic tumors from taking hold.